All right, so thank you again for watching another video in this series, or part one of this series. Last video, we did some log monitoring and review. In this video, we're going to do some security monitoring activities, right, including SIEM. As you can see, we have Alien Vault ready to go. And we mentioned the SIEM tool, if not previously in another video. In a previous video, we've discussed it. We're going to discuss it in another video going forward. SIEM tool that could be used for managing events across different assets, right? And the networking has different built-in capabilities, and there's so many different SIEMs you can use. Again, today we're using Alien Vault SIEM. So right now, what we're going to do for our first task is take a look at the SIEM board dashboard to see how best we can understand it. So I'm actually going to log in to here. It'll let me. Okay. 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 Should be. All right. Let's fix that. All right. So we're able to log in, and now we can see that the dashboard has been displayed. So there's actually a possibility that some of the sections on the dashboard may not have any data, and it's because those events would have not taken place, right? So for example, we have the top 5 alarms, right, section on here, but there is no data. That's because no alarm has been generated, right? So we can actually scroll down to see a bit more of the dashboard, right? Top 10 hosts and multiple events. Again, a little to no data, right? This is just to showcase how we can best understand the SIEM dashboard. So let's actually scroll up, and then we can, let's see, take a look at the interactive graph. Actually, let me go back. Just hover over it. Right, so it'll show that the top 10 categories overwhelmingly about 53, which is 94% of the event categories, or the top 10 event categories, is authentication, right? So we can take a look at that. Actually, I'll click on it again. All right, so let's see. So we'll see all of these here pretty much around authentication. The risk is relatively low. I mean, 0 to 2 is not crazy, right? So now we're going to write rules using the SIEM, right? So Alien Vault has the ability to write custom path rules, right, to perform various tasks, right? So we can also edit those rules and create copies if needed, right? So and we're going to do some writing. Long story short. So actually, let's see. Let's take a look here. And go to protection. Let's take a look at the rules here. Edit rules. All right, perfect. So now I'm on the rules file tab here, and I'll actually click here, and we'll see that there are several rule files. However, only a local rule file is editable. So we're going to keep the local rules.xml. I just wanted to showcase the different rules that can be available should you edit your own rules using Alien Vault in particular. All right, so let's take a look at the rule editor. Right, so over here, we'll notice that the selected rule is now editable, right? As we can, do that. All right, so now it's a sample rule, right? Just activated. It's marked as level. Should be marked as level 0. Yeah, so it should be marked at level 0 as far as the rule, which means ignore as far as any issues. So we can actually skip making changes to this rule. However, we can, at any point head to this browser since it's an open source tool to actually take a look at it. So we can actually also clone rules and then modify that clone rule as well. And we can do that if we select, let's see, do that here, right? And then actually, let's see. Oh, there it is. I knew it was around somewhere, just fidgeting around. So we can clone the attribute for that particular rule. Obviously, rename it if we want. So we can actually, you know what? Let's see. Let me actually clone. Well, let me actually name it. Okay. Well, then I'll just hit here. And then I'll hit save. So now we'll see a new rule with the same rule ID that is created, which is, exactly a clone, which is pretty much duplicating, right? Now the saving process sometimes could take a while, but as you can see, today is fairly quick. So actually, let me take a look at how we can edit the clone, right? So now the rule is editable, right? So we can mess around with a few things here, right? So I'm going to change the ID from ending in 1 to end in 2. I'm going to click save, right? And now we see that the rule ID ending in 2 appears here to our left, right? Perfect. So now what we can do is, sorry for the load. Now what we can do is actually move on to our next exercise, which is going to be, let's see, load here, going to be on the network and particular things within the network, right? So let's talk a little bit about malware on the network, right? So malware is just a piece of code that has been programmed into a form of executable or code that has been embedded within a legitimate software, right? So it's programmed to do something, usually, right? So when it's assembled, it's converted into a binary format. So you reverse engineer it, it's converted into mnemonics, right? So which can be further evaluated to understand how the software is programmed to work. So what we're going to be doing just a little bit is some malware reverse engineering. Sounds amazing, right? So there is actually different methods to reverse engineer software or malware. And they fall into a couple different categories, which is disassemblers and debuggers. And so the disassemblers can actually reverse engineer the software into assembly code, right? So it can actually also convert the binary code into native code. And one example is IDA Pro and also debuggers. So debuggers can actually manipulate the software execution to understand what it's designed to do, right? So examples are like x64 debug, WinBG, and another one I can't think off the top of my head. But let's see if we can do a little bit here. Yeah, it looks like that the end here won't actually give me access to do some application of reverse engineering, which I was super excited for. But nonetheless, we did at least mention it. We can talk about, system and application behavior, exploiting techniques, file systems, user and entity behavior analytics, and things of that nature. But we did unfortunately reach the end of this video. I wish it was a bit longer. I love these lab exercises. They're so much fun, genuinely so much fun. I love figuring things out and tying some things together as far as how everything on the network works and how we can make things a lot more secure for our enterprises. So just a brief recap what we did cover over. We did a sim review as far as understanding the dashboard and the different details of information that it can give us, and also specific to Alien Vault, at least in this sense, how to create clone rules and also create our own rules with that clone as well, and also just a general network. So now we're able to write rules using the sim and also understand the sim dashboard, at least for Alien Vault, a little bit better, and also some Splunk that we'll be doing a video on as well. But this is Again, security monitoring activities. On the next video, you'll see data and application controls. I'll see you there.